As a designer, I feel like the most common thing I'm being asked these days is, so I just bought this condo and I can't figure out what to do with the furniture. And I totally understand. Condos are small spaces. Frequently they have awkward corners to plan, and it's hard to know how to use the space most effectively. My first suggestion, and I know it's hard, is to resist the urge to buy furniture before you're actually in the built space. What you're gonna see on plan is not necessarily how it's gonna be built. That fantastic wall where you're gonna put that beautiful floor-to-ceiling bookcase may have a bulkhead or a vent. What I've got here is a typical condo layout, and I think it has the most common problem that you need to identify, which is if there's a built-in breakfast bar, should you add a dining room table? Are you gonna need it, or should you use that space for something else? Personally, nothing drives me more crazy than seeing a breakfast bar with 2 stools at it and then a table right next to it with 4 chairs. If the condo's just for 1 or 2 people and you really don't plan on hosting a sitting down dinner party, I would say skip the dining room table entirely. Just eat at the breakfast bar. But if you do feel strongly that you want a dining room table, and I totally understand, I recommend that you fill in the space under the breakfast bar with storage. You can get shallow cabinets, or you can even just put in some open shelving. Most of the time, people are looking at a rectangular dining table that's gonna seat 4 to 6 people. And I would recommend to tuck it up against the wall. What you can do for seating there is either have a bench that tucks under the table, or if you wanna have chairs on that side when you pull the table out, just take those chairs and use them somewhere else in your layout on a day-to-day basis. It then opens up the ability to put some storage on the far side and give you nice circulation flow between the 2 pieces. The other thing people sometimes ask for is how to incorporate a round table into a space. People are going to be inclined to set their table up so that they're orienting their 4 chairs front, back, side, side. What that's going to do is end up with pinching space at the adjoining walls. So I would cheat my table a little closer to one wall and then placing your chairs on the diagonal. And what that's going to do is significantly increase the distance to the other wall, which will allow for better circulation through your condo and past your dining room. One key thing to bear in mind when you're making a choice about where you're gonna put your dining room table is don't let your junction box boss you around. They're gonna place it somewhere pretty predictable, but if that's pushing you to center your dining room table awkwardly in the space, what I would recommend is instead buying a light that has extra chain and extra cord and just swagging it to a hook in the ceiling that's gonna let you place your table where you want it. Don't get too caught up in letting the way that someone else designed your condo dictate how you're laying out your furniture. Make it yours, make it work for you. Now this condo, like most condos out there, has that funny little space right off the entry called a den. Usually how it gets used is there's a desk and a ton of sporting equipment lying against one wall, and it just looks like chaos when you walk into someone's house. So this is my personal solution that I think is the best way to solve it. You get the best of both worlds. I would put a circular table in the den, put some sort of soft seating like a love seat or a sectional in there, and then a couple of chairs. And what you've done is created a room where you can have people over for dinner, but you could also sit there with a coffee and work. It can be a home office, it can be a study, a library, and a dining room all in one, and it looks beautiful when you walk through the front door. So you've picked your dining room solution, and now the question is always, which way do I orient my sectional? You're probably gonna put your TV up against the wall next to your bedroom. So, do you do a sectional this way and divide from your dining room? Or, personally, I think the orientation with the sectional running along the window side is the nicest. The only time this really isn't gonna work is if you've got a balcony and the access to your balcony is gonna be blocked by your sectional. That won't work, and I would flip it the other way. If you've got a fixed portion of door and then the slide is on the TV end, then I think it's quite nice to have the sectional here. Just don't slam it right up against the end wall. Leave yourself space to hang a little drape, have a little breathing room, and let the air circulate a little bit at that end because it's gonna be the coldest end of your room. What you can do then is put a little chair in the corner, gives you extra seating. Maybe you're stashing it there when it's not sitting at your dining room table. Then it gives you the ability, when you've got people over, to bring chairs over and create a nice seating area. But on the day-to-day, this area is open and you have good flow between the 2 spaces. I think there are a couple of key things to really think about when you're doing your small space layout. One is flexibility. Is it gonna work for you in the various ways you wanna use your space when you're home alone, binge watching Netflix, or when you've got all your friends over for a party? And then the other one is pieces that have dual function, whether it's a side table that's got built-in storage, whether it's a chair that works both in your dining room and in your living area. Let things move around as you move through your day. But I think above all, the critical thing is that this is your space. It needs to work for you, not anybody else. Don't tie yourself into the idea that you have to have a formal dining room for a Thanksgiving dinner you're never gonna have.